which bullied smaller Vietnamese and Filipino fishing boats on the water, also threatened the sustainability of the South China Sea's fishing stocks. Oceanic pollution, particularly from plastics waste, was a serious problem too. Further issues were visible on the instruments of the scientific community: rising ocean temperatures and acidity levels, increasing storm intensities, and sea level rise. The latter was already threatening low-lying islands in other parts of the Pacific. Human habitation on Pacific island nations such as Vanuatu, Tuvalu, Fiji, Kiribati, and the Marshall Islands is seriously jeopardized by rising seas, degraded fishing, and more frequent storm surges connected to climate change. Would China's new island formations suffer the same fate? Was their construction an expression of power or of hubris? The desire to capture untapped fossil fuel reserves on the ocean floor is a presumed motivation for Chinese island building in the South China Sea. But the climatic consequences of the fossil fuel burning energy systems that have powered the capitalist global economy for more than a century threaten to overwhelm the entire endeavor. Indeed, unless modern civilization sharply reduces greenhouse gas emissions, the oceans are expected to swallow large swaths of land over the next quarter century. According to current estimates, approximately 150 million people now live on land that will be below the high tide line by 2050. Shanghai and its surroundings, a vital hub in the global economy, will be submerged unless there is a massive engineering response. Bangkok in Thailand, Mumbai in India, Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, and many other cities around the world will follow suit. Southern Vietnam, once fought over with massive firepower and toxic chemicals to keep communism at bay, may also be lost to rising tides. Climate change is shifting the earthly foundations of our geopolitics. World powers today face a fundamentally new question. Are rising Earth temperatures and sea levels a greater emergency than the rising power of rival states? The question is increasingly insistent, yet the trade-offs and choices it demands are not yet clearly grasped and debated in democratic societies. Some policymakers understand that climate breakdown is an unprecedented planetary emergency, one that demands a radically new collaborative international order. Most state security institutions and politicians, though, are fixated on economic and military competition against rival world powers. Few consider the deeper problem, namely, that geopolitical practices themselves are a major structural driver of the climate crisis. In obsessively promoting their own security, mission, and military might, world powers have long played geopolitics against each other at the expense of the planet. To understand the climate crisis fully, we need to see the practices of geopolitics geoecologically. We need, in other words, to earth geopolitics. Modernity exposed. Chinese island building in the South China Sea opens up much larger questions about territorial formation and modernity. Over the last 6 centuries, humans have dramatically increased their capacity to mold the earth to their requirements. Terraformation, the making of land, the reworking of the natural environment to serve specific groups, is an enduring human drive. Terra, while often equated with fixed dry land, actually encompasses all sorts of terrains, themselves never singular but interacting: lands and seas, rivers and fields, mountains and valleys, wetlands and plains, deserts and tundra. All lands and seas, however, are not themselves without the planet's atmosphere and the dynamic hydrological and atmospheric processes that are climate. In clearing forests, cultivating crops, and burning materials for energy, humans started altering its chemical composition. For most of our species' history, human societies developed their capacity for terraformation in very limited and localized ways. The development of a capitalist world economy anchored in Europe from the 15th century onward changed this, giving birth to a massive terraforming enterprise that is still working itself out across the vast spaces of the planet.